Cable bill already yet?
No, but it could be like famous then.
No,
Okay.
we don't ever want to be famous.
I got my cable bill.
I don't, I
Like $70-some a month.
How?
We are lucky.
Spectrum?
Called to cancel. I wanted to cancel everything but the internet. Well, let me, if you can listen, she goes, if you hear me out, okay, I wanna offer you something.
These
Oh,
are
go ahead.
really good reviews. She's like a commercial right now
Yeah.
because we've gone live.
There you go. I said, well, go ahead and offer me, and she offered me something, I said, no, it's $145. I said, no. She goes, well, let me offer you one more. And it was a select, and I got all the basics for free. Then I have to pick 15 channels. That's all we get.
We better send.
So it went from 188
We might
to
get lost in the shuffle, Chris.
150.
We might get lost in the shuffle. I'm gonna go get
They
us
used to have specials that you could go out and sign up for when
Yeah,
they
1
had
minute, bro.
just locally.
some. What's that?
But 1 minute.
Oh.
special, she said we don't have that.
I asked for that too. Because the last time the bill went up.
Yeah, sure, well, okay.
You need to get over to
Chris, would you like an agenda?
attention.
Yeah, that's, because I call those people, I can't do it for you. Well, you go to the people who cancel your thing, then they throw out the deals. But it's only for a year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just put
That's
up like
what it
Sirius
was.
XM. I call on to it when a year comes, I call it back and
That's
I
what
get my
it was
Sirius XM for
before.
$40.
For the whole year.
Yeah. And I get on my wife's card and my cell phone, so I can listen to it myself. $40 a year.
Very
Two cards. I gotta
You're
keep
doing something wrong.
renegotiating. You do. It comes back up here in October.
Okay.
$20.
We just gotta do it. Yeah, we should get something, right?
Nope.
You guys
I
are,
don't know what the button is though.
you guys ready?
Yep.
6 o'clock.
Good, right?
Meeting coming to order, Sidney City School Board. Mike, you wanna call the roll?
Jason Schaffner.
Here.
Linda Meininger.
Here.
Mandy Croft.
Here.
Bob Smith.
Here.
Michelle Lott.
Here.
All present.
All right, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? None, they'll stand. Any public participation?
No.
No.
Right along. Mike, say it's all to you now.
Yes, it is. No reports or communications tonight. Okay. So the first item, minutes, financial reports, and invoices paid. I'd like to request a motion to approve those minutes, financial reports, and invoices paid as presented.
Also moved.
Linda, you got a second?
Second.
Bob, any discussion?
Real quick. So we've come to the end of the fiscal year, June, and really overall, we performed much better than what was originally budgeted a year ago. On the property taxes, we ended the year more than budgeted. The unrestricted grants and aid, which is basically the state foundation, we ended ahead of what was budgeted. If you remember, originally when we budgeted, we were expecting the full decrease due to the state budget, and then they restored part of that, so that definitely helped us. Property tax allocation, we ended the month. Well, but all that came in May, and we were ahead by a little over 5%, which is also related to the original property taxes that came in ahead of budget because of the change in the update and so forth, additional collections that came in. So the overall revenue for year-to-date June was just under 5% more than budget, just under $1.7 million in the favorable direction. On the expenditure side, everything except purchase services and miscellaneous performed better than budget. Salaries and benefits were 8% better than originally budgeted. Purchase services, while they were less, they were more than what was originally budgeted. It was less than 1%. And with the volatility that we've seen in purchase services, I consider that right on budget. So good there. Supplies and materials, capital outlay, all performed better than we had originally budgeted. And so overall, the expenditures for June were less than budgeted by almost 6%. So when it was all said and done, what was originally budgeted in our way back in July of last year, with the things that we knew at that time or potentially expected, we were expecting nearly a $5 million net loss, revenue, expenditures over revenues. As it ended up, it got whittled clear down to just under 900,000 expenditures over revenues. So it's, that's not the direction you want to be, but it's significantly better than what we were anticipating. And we expect with the things that we've done, some of the things that we're hoping we're going to see between property taxes, income tax, those types of things. And when the state budget finally gets all ironed out and we see the impact, that we are going in the right direction moving forward for a good period of time now. Any questions?
Hearing none, Mike, do you want to call roll?
Meininger,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Excuse me, motion carries. The next item are the acceptance of EPC bids. I'd like to request a motion to accept the bids through the Educational Purchasing Cooperative and award contracts to the following food service vendors for the 2021-2022 school year. For commercial foods, it's GFS, Right Way, and Cisco. For bakery, Aunt Millie's, Klosterman, and Nichols. For dairy, it's Borden, DFA, which used to be Ryder, Prairie Farm, Shankles, and United. For ice cream, it's Hershey's and Velvet. For produce, Creation Gardens and Hackett.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Bob, second.
Second.
Michelle, any discussion?
And Mike, this is the annual thing.
We do this every year. All these go through the EPC. They accept all the bids and vet all the different vendors, so.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, do you want to call roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Croft,
Abstain.
Meininger,
Yes.
and Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item C, purchase services agreements with the MRESC. I'd like to approve a motion, request a motion to approve the core services agreement and the following individual service agreements with the Midwest Regional Educational Service Center for the 2021-2022 school year. Java summer work at a cost of $11,368.35. CPI blended learning initiative and refresher training services at a cost of $69.08 per hour. Instructional assistance services at a cost of $256,744.24. A study hall teacher at a cost of $45,546.18. The Java family liaison at a cost of $88,908.33. Detention aid at a cost of $17.38 per hour. And finally, bus aids at a cost of $14.85 an hour, up to $16.50 per hour.
Any discussion?
Mike?
We need a motion for this.
Oh, sorry. A motion.
So moved. Second.
Linda, Michelle?
Question, Mike.
Yes.
On the study hall teacher, does that have to be a certified teacher? Cannot be an aide?
Does not. As of right now, that person that was going to take that position probably isn't going to take that position. But the reason why we used a teacher was because they were not going to take benefits. So it's actually cost us less than an aide that took benefits.
I see.
But I don't believe the person's going to take the position anyway, because I think they may have something else somewhere else, but that's not official yet.
Okay, and also, of course, I can't remember. The instructional aid, is that big number for all the aides?
Those
that
are,
were
if you remember, we did some last month.
Oh,
We did some instructional aids. Not all the positions were filled. So these are additional aids as we begin to, or continue to fill the vacated positions for those that chose not to come back.
Okay, now all those aides that we kept that are being hired through the ESC, are they all being paid the same or are they at all different
They're
levels?
at all different levels based on their years of experience.
Do you know what the minimum rate is? It's in at $11 or
It's
something?
in that neighborhood somewhere. I don't remember the exact amount.
You don't know what the top end is? do you?
And
The top end is like 1550, something like
something
that.
on that 15
Right now.
range. You can slide in this way. There's a sign-in sheet at the end of the room. Thank you. You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Meininger,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes,
Croft,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item D is a speech therapist services contract. I'd like to request a motion to enter into a purchase services contract with Megan Knappy for speech therapist services at a rate of $52 per hour for a maximum of 550 hours for the 2021-2022 school year.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Andy,
A
second.
second.
Linda?
We've done this for a number of years with Megan. She's kind of helped fill the holes in for those times when our full-time speech therapists are not available or the caseload is more than what they are able to handle. But then we also capped it for a number of hours per year. It's the same number of hours as we had last year. The rate did go up from 50 to 52, but Meg has done this with us for a couple of years at the same rate.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Sure. And I'm sorry, who seconded that? Croft and
Linda.
Okay, sorry about that. Croft,
Yes.
Leininger,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lot,
yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries.
I think the YouTube stream is not working.
Okay. Can you just see if the YouTube quit? It said we were live. If for some reason there's some question, Carrie left me her number. We're having issues, but
What should
Sorry.
it says it's live. Is that-
yeah, and it shows that it's streaming.
Okay, Melanie says it's not, so I don't know.
Live and I'm not sure what else to do past that.
I can text
Okay.
Cody too and see if he can help troubleshoot.
Okay, all right, so we go on to E. This is an Admentum agreement. Would like to request a motion to approve an agreement with Admentum for the Ed Options Academy Elementary Pathways to be used in the Java program for the period of 12 months
She says it is working.
at a cost of up to $56,000.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Bob, second.
Seconded.
Andy? Any discussion?
Bob, do you want to tell us more about this or defer it to someone else in the room?
I'm going to defer it to someone else in the room.
Mr. Watkins, he's talking about you. So this agreement is for the Java K-5 program. This is for up to 20 licenses for K-5 students. Provided we do not have that many students, we'll only be charged for the licenses we use. It also provides us with live instruction on the other end and the services that, again, PD, support for our families. And that also is provided by Admentum in addition to our Java instructor
Can you
administrator. Will also help to be a liaison as well for any issues or concerns that there are.
In the Java program, or anyone who doesn't know.
So it's our Jacket
I'm sorry.
Virtual
Academy.
Academy. I had to think about the last day.
Are we having are people enrolling in it? Or-
We are.
Right now, it seems to be more on the 6-12 end as opposed to the K-5. But we do have a lot of inquiries, just no solid enrollments yet for K-5.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, on the call roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Leininger,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item F, open up agreement. I'd like to request a motion to approve professional learning support through open up resources for grades 6 through 11 math curriculum implementation in the amount of $42,700.
Got a motion?
So moved.
Michelle, second?
I'll second.
Linda? Any discussion?
Bob, you want to tell us more about this or defer it to someone in the room?
I'm going to defer that to someone else in the room,
So,
to the expert.
So in grades 6 through 12, we have math curriculum, digital resources, and consumables that have since expired. So in an effort to look for more updated curricula that meets the actual standards, the rigor of the standards, we kind of put some feelers out to see what exists out there that's not only, again, meets those standards, but it also is cost effective. So Open Up Resources is one of those that is an online resource. Our teachers can access it they get logins for free, and the curriculum they can digitally download for our students. So there's no cost in any kind of consumable text or a textbook. So what this does, knowing that we need to get something that also aligns with the K-5 Bridges pedagogy. This fits the bill. So we've asked for teachers to pilot it for next year. We've had a lot of volunteers who said they'd be willing to do that in grades 6 through 11. And this goes up to Algebra 2. So they need some professional learning in order to support them in the implementation, because it is a shift in pedagogy from the just turn the page textbook and this is what it is, and you try it once, twice. No, this is very hands-on student-oriented task, very much like Bridges. So there's an allure to that.
And we did the same with Bridges. We piloted and then we implemented the next year. So it's very similar.
It is. And so I actually just spoke with one of the professional learning specialists today, and we have a learning plan in place that our teachers will begin the first week they come back, their contracted week that they return. We have it set up so they'll get what they need to start. And then we have it built out for them throughout the year with some check-ins that will be virtual in addition to some on-site learning and embedded support that does not require them to be taken out of the classroom for this year. So that's a key, especially with sub shortage continued issue.
And this cost is for a pilot, or is this the cost that it will be post-pilot as well?
No, post-pilot is actually much less than that. Okay. It'll be under 9,000. Should we need, and that's for the actual teacher resources in hand. That's a one-time fee. They have it. And then we have consumable kits that are grades 6, 7, and 8 to support them. That's where the cost will be, and it'll be less than $9,000.
Is there anything we need to do in the pre-calc and calc area?
So I actually have, I've spoken with the teacher to find out if what we're using in for that curriculum, if it's still good or if we need to pursue something else. And she was actually going to look at a couple other options. And then she and I are going to work together to see if she wants to pilot something in those areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Lot,
Yes.
Leininger,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Item G is our property, fleet, and liability insurance renewal. I'd like to request a motion to authorize entering into an agreement with the Ohio School Plan administered by Highland Administrative Services, LLC, for the district's property, fleet, and liability insurance for the term of July 1st, 2021 through June 30, 2022, at a cost of $108,915.
Got a motion?
So moved.
Andy, you got a second?
Second,
Michelle?
Is that more than it was last year?
It
Last
is,
year about
is a little bit
6.
more than last year. Part of that is due to the increased value of the properties. Matter of fact, the majority of that, I believe, was from there. There's a couple of areas that went down a little bit, but it was not a significant increase over last year. I did have a quote from a competitor. If you remember, Highland is through receipt, so that local connection there. Received a quote from another insurance carrier, not local, from out of the area. They were slightly lower, but at this point yet, I still feel there's that value of that local connection, the good service that we have had for a number of years. But I evaluate that every year, and that's not to say at some point that doesn't play more in the mix, that variation. So, but for now, I'm still recommending a school plan with Highland.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Langer,
Yes,
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Got that, Jason? Still don't have it yet.
Huh?
She did, yes. Okay, there it is. Thank you. And the last one, and this is kind of plays off the previous motion, is for a cyber insurance policy, like a motion to authorize entering into an agreement with USI Insurance Services for cyber liability insurance policy at a cost of $13,319 for the term of July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022.
Motion?
So moved.
Bob, got a second?
Seconded.
Andy? Any discussion?
So during this renewal period, I've learned a little bit about cyber insurance. Our current carrier, Highland, has a cyber policy. And the cost of that cyber policy is about $1,300. And the competitive quote that I got included a cyber policy very similar to what was in with the Highland policy. USI contacted me. It was late in the game, too late in the game to give me a competitive quote for this fiscal year on the overall package. That they still would like to do that, and the next year we'll work at looking at getting that quote from them. But one of the things that we discussed, just because there's so much activity right now in the cyber things going on, theft and ransoms and all those types of things, as we talked and I shared our policy with them, and then they did an evaluation, came back. There are a few holes in our current cyber policy that open up some exposure in some of the coverages. Another thing was that in our deductibles, the deductibles for our current policy with Highland are $100,000 for each occurrence. And as I learned, within one event, you could have 2, maybe 3 occurrences in different areas of your policy that would, in this case, you could, if it was 3, you have $300,000 in exposure. And our current policy from Highland also at this point does not include cryptocurrency, so that you could have your exposure for your deductible, plus if you end up doing anything with ransom that included cryptocurrency, it's out of pocket, it's all yours. The USI policy, now granted, for what we're paying, but the coverage is much broader. The deductible is $10,000. That's not delineated, that's $10,000 period. And their policy does include the cryptocurrency piece. So I felt with everything that was going on, it was prudent to move forward with the policy, considering the state of the world as we're in, not take a chance into researching it over the next year, or do I do it next year? That this would be money well spent in the event of something happening. We would be so much further ahead having this policy in place than just the one we had that came as part of our overall policy with Highland.
So on the policy, I saw cyber extortion listed. I assume that is their term for ransomware. And I assume that's what you're referring to with the cryptocurrency.
Correct.
I also noticed that there was coverage for data restoration. So what is our official stance on ransomware? Do we pay the ransom or do we restore the data?
Honestly, we've not had those kind of discussions at any point, have we?
It might be a good conversation to open up with VARTech now, so we have a go-in position on that, and know that there are pros and cons on both sides. There's a strong con for paying in that it provides an incentive for it to happen to others. But there's a strong pro for paying in that you could get your data back immediately.
Yeah.
So we should think through this when we're not under the stress of an incident and how to go in position on it.
Right, I absolutely 100% agree, which is part of the rationale though is why spend the money now. And then we have those, we're protected and we can have those conversations as we go forward at this point.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Meininger,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries.
Superintendents report?
Okay, request a motion to approve personnel report as presented.
Have a motion?
Also move.
Linda, second.
Second.
Michelle? Any discussion?
Do you have anyone you want to introduce that might be in attendance?
We could do that now. I was gonna do it once we actually approved it, but that's fine. Christina Sanchez is here,
Hi.
our new Northwood principal candidate until you can vote. We're very excited to have Christina. She has extensive elementary administration background, and we are pleased to have her. And she lives in Beaver Creek, and I think her and Denny are just gonna carpool.
I don't know about that. Denny's an earlier start time than me, so I'm not feeling that one. He may not be feeling waiting until I get off either, but I am excited to be able to work with him, so that's really awesome.
Good. And I think I shared before the meeting started that the Amanda Mitchell is an interesting one for me because I took her to college visitation when she was still in high school. So it feels a little strange approving it now, but
Well, we're excited to have her as well.
Yeah.
We have some outstanding people that we've hired.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Meininger,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Request a motion to approve the appointment of Kurt Barhorst to the Shelby County Library Board of Trustees.
A motion?
Also move.
Linda, second.
Second,
Bob? Any discussion?
this is it's just something we have to do each time they have an appointment. We have to give our thumbs up on
We
it.
do.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, you want to call roll?
Meininger,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries.
And next, we'll request a motion to approve the Title I Parent Involvement Policy and School Parent Compact Adoption. And in Part 4, we will correct that date. It says that we're approving it a year ago.
It's not bad. Do I got a motion?
So moved.
Michelle, second.
Second.
Randy? Any discussion?
Other than that, it's unchanged from the prior year, correct?
Correct.
Bob, I have a question. I know years ago I was paid with Title I funds. Are you using any Title I money at Emerson and Longfellow for reading teachers?
So we are not at this particular time. We're using it for classroom reduction,
Okay.
which is allowable within the Title I
Right,
rules.
I was paid with that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the Title I money's going for
Correct.
class size reduction.
Mhm.
Any other discussion?
Oh, I guess I could ask this. With the levy passing and the aides being hired through the ESC at a lower rate, would there be any money available to put aides back in the kindergarten rooms?
So we are exploring that actually, as we speak. We've been talking about that for the last week or so. And so the answer to your question is, we can always spend the money. It's a matter of should we and do we have enough people to fill the positions? So we are exploring it. We have been discussing it.
Okay, I've spoken with several kindergarten teachers over the summer, and I think it really be a smart move to put some.
We're looking more of a model of like a grade level rather than each classroom.
One that would float.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they would appreciate any help they could get.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mike, want to go roll?
Lot.
Yes.
Croft.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries.
Bob, you got a legislation report?
I sure do, but I only have 2 bills on this one. There was a lot of activity, a lot of things submitted, but there are 2 of them that I really wanted to cover this time. First one is House Bill 82. This is a bill that was originally created as an opt-out for students in the 11th and 12th grade from the state requirement to take the ACT or SAT. However, it was amended to include Senate Bill 145, which modifies the state report card. And the amended bill was signed by Governor DeWine. So I'm sure after everything has been digested, that might make an interesting presentation by someone in front of a board meeting, but
And I can't imagine who that
it could be anybody. But I think letter grades for school districts look like they're out to be replaced with stars, and the categories look to be the same, but I think it might be good, once it's been digested, to really have a summary of what those changes are. And the second one is House Bill 110. This is the biennial budget. It was signed by Governor DeWine. It makes changes to the basis for funding public education as it includes the Fair Funding School Plan, which was House Bill 1. Some additional educational provisions which were included: $50 million in school bus funding for fiscal year 2022, requiring school districts to sell or lease unused buildings in which less than 60% of the building was used for district academic instruction the prior year. So it was a good thing we already kind of took care of that. $250 million for the residential broadband expansion grant program, which will be critical for things like our Java.
Mhm.
And authorizing school districts to operate a building using an online learning model subject to certain requirements, and it increased the payment in lieu of transportation pilot amount to be no less than $539, which I think that may impact our Troy Christian students next year. Is that accurate or not accurate?
It could, we still are paying more than that.
Okay. So once again, I think this one will have to wait until it's been digested and maybe a presentation in front of the board of what the real impact is going to be on the district. But
4th, I believe it is, the OSBA, OASBO are putting on, it's called Budget Analysis and Discussion. So hopefully some really helpful information will be given there. So.
and that's all I really have.
Bob? Michelle, UBCC report?
Well, I apologize for the length, but next month there won't be one because we'll be missing next week's meeting. So on June 28th, we had a regular board meeting. Anthony Fraley administered the oath of office for appointed member Bill Ankney. Board President Joyce Reeves reminded board members to be sure to complete the evaluation of the superintendent within the next 2 weeks. An executive session will be held to discuss the evaluation at the July 26th board meeting. Mrs. Reeves also mentioned that the convocation went well, which was held at Hobart Arena. Mr. Hawk, the superintendent, gave an update on the review and revisions of proposed board policies. He also mentioned that the negotiations for the state budget are trending in the right direction for career technical schools. He highlighted Dustin Glick, a UBCC student from Bradford, who received the Darke County 20 Under 20 Award. He is an apprentice with Glick Construction, and following graduation, he plans to continue in the construction trades with the Glick Construction Incorporated. Mr. Hawk also mentioned that more and more students are participating in state competitions and are winning awards, 109 awards. The superintendent also highlighted Camp Excel, which is for students who have completed grades 4th through 7th grade. 78 students from 17 area schools took part in this week-long camp to learn about basic building and carpentry, cosmetology, engineering imagination, greenhouse, junior chef, planes, rockets, and drones, STEM, fun, and vet science. Mr. Hawk received an email thank you from a grandparent who stated that her grandchild was more excited about this camp than going to Disney 9 times. Finally, Mr. Hawk mentioned that the 230 UBCC students earned a total of 1,612 articulated credits from Edison State Community College. Mr. Gibson gave the board an update on the welding project, which is 85 to 90% completed. It is on schedule and should be finished by the end of July. He mentioned that the renewal of the benefit package reflects a 7.5% increase and a 2% increase in vision and dental. Mr. Freely gave his treasurer's report. The general fund was favorable in May with 91 days of cash on hand. However, the month of June is not as favorable because of the adult ed revenues are hurting. This is primarily due to decreases in the enrollment for post-secondary schools. Programs are doing well, but there is not a strong revenue stream due to cuts in state aid. Mr. Freely asked the board to approve 4 grant funds, temporary appropriations for fiscal year 22, final appropriations for 21, fiscal year end transfers and advances for 21, and approve a conversion of a fund. The board approved 3 purchase orders for Gordon Food Service, Miami County Sheriff's Office SRO program, and for a Kubota Zimmer tractor. We also approved 3 donations, textbook purchases, the annual renewal of property, fleet, liability, and cyber coverage, the renewal of student accident insurance, approval of health, dental, and vision premiums, the high school student handbook, and the approval of a new job description, data entry specialist. We also approved 9 people for employment. The final approval was for the TIF project being proposed by the city of Sidney for residential and commercial development. We adjourned and went into executive session.
Thank you, Michelle. Do I have a motion to go to executive session for?
Also move.
For the purpose.
It's listed, you haven't seen it listed there.
Huh?
It's motion to adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing superintendent treasurer evaluations, the employment of an employee of the district, and security arrangements for the district.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Linda,
Second.
Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mike, want to call the roll?
Meininger,
Yes.
Lot,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Croft,
Yes.
Schaffner.
Yep.
Motion carries.
We will not be coming back.
We'll go upstairs, I assume.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Is it here?
Yes.
Are you 4 or 5 for not present?
I changed my vote. Just graduated.
Okay, yes.
And I sat beside you his hands a few times to
Yes. The DJ?
That's my little alter ego session.
Oh, I know him.
He actually will be back at work on Thursday. And I think he's they were departing North Dakota tonight, so they'll ride all the way back on the bus. So I think you have Wednesday, he's home tomorrow, to Wednesday, but his own day. Back to work Thursday. Oh, okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's right.
Into central office.
Which
so far,
Where
yeah.
did you see
I
that
mean-
on our website?
Oh my God.
The bad news
So
is,
far,
I looked around, like, she's not my sister. The good